I'm Christy. Today I want to talk to you about how to use your hands to share your message. So last week I mentioned that we use sign language for communication in the past. I've got a link to that blog post over on the blog for this week. You can find that at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in June of 2021. Now I should also say we still use a little bit of sign in our lives today. I should also pause here and say none of us are anywhere near fluent in using sign language, especially ASL or American Sign Language. We definitely fall more on the, we know a little bit of sign end of the spectrum. But we got really good at using that little bit when the boys were little. We started using sign around Sean's first birthday. Now obviously, he wasn't talking yet. And since AJ wasn't talking either, and he was about 4.5 at the time, he needed a way to communicate with us. A friend introduced us to the Signing Time videos, and I was instantly hooked. Now, I've got a link to their website over on the blog. Again, that's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This is from June of 2021. These videos gave us a lifeline to learning what the boys were thinking at the time, while helping us to learn the needed signs easily, quickly, and in a fun and engaging manner. Now, over the next number of years, I found myself talking verbally and with my hands most of the time I talked with the boys, and eventually with just about any other kid I came in contact with. It just became the way I communicated with kids, with my mouth and with my hands. For us, signing was a blessing. It took away Sean's girl screech. You know that really high-pitched that just makes you cringe? Yeah, he had that. It started around his first birthday because he had things he wanted to say and no way to communicate them with us, or to us. So sign gave him a way to get his thoughts across to us. And it gave AJ to communicate with us since he wasn't using words yet. I haven't looked into where things stand today. But when we were using sign, there were two basic camps or ways of thinking. There was the use ASL camp, and there was the use baby sign or made-up signs. Signs that were either created within the family to represent various things or other non-ASL based signs. Now, personally, I think that ASL is the better way to go. And I could go off on a major soapbox here, but I'll do my best to keep this brief. Basically, I think that using an existing language is the smarter move. There are plenty of ways to learn basic signs that young children need to communicate their basic needs and wants. And these same signs are understood by anyone who knows ASL, a recognized language, as I mentioned before. As an added benefit, it gives you the opportunity to communicate with others who know ASL, should you ever run across them in other areas of life. Now, another major advantage is that anyone who knows ASL can then communicate with your loved one. Using made-up or family signs or baby signs doesn't allow for this kind of crossover communication. Now, many long, drawn-out discussions have taken place over whether or not ASL or sign should be used with individuals who are hearing but unable to speak. I'm not looking to step on anyone's toes here, but from my perspective, using ASL opens up communication to anyone who is unable to use their mouth to form words and communicate verbally. It's reasonably well recognized, and it allows many people the ability to communicate with others, regardless of their ability to speak or hear. Now, another advantage is that there's nothing that you have to drag along with you or you have to have with you to be able to communicate. You always have your hands with you, and you can usually get them free if they're full and you need to communicate, which means you can always communicate with other people. Now, I should provide one caution here. Depending on the fine motor dexterity and control that you have, some signs might have to be modified. Or sometimes multiple signs might look all alike. And while it's not optimal, a sign still greatly enhances communication. For example, when we were in the thick of things, AJ used one sign to mean three different things. There's more, ball, and shoes. He used this for all of them. So it was one sign. But, and like I said, that sign didn't necessarily look like any of those, but we figured out what it was. And the context would usually tell me which of those three signs he was using at the time. And if not, I'd ask him by speaking the word and signing the correct sign back to him. If he was eating, he most likely wasn't talking about shoes or balls. He was typically asking for more. So you get the idea. So there you have it. A brief overview of one alternative form of communication. I know that it's not something that everybody will embrace or choose to use, and that's fine. But if your loved one struggles to communicate, I think it's worth something considering and looking into. Which leads me to my question for this week. Have you used sign with your loved one? Was it a success for your family? I'd love to hear your experiences. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. That's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This is from June of 2021. I'm grateful for the benefits that we received from using sign so that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.